I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast State Senator from Texas, Angela Paxton. There's a lot going on in Texas, a whole slate of proposed laws that are being discussed by the legislature, but the Democrats are not present. A bunch of them, I believe 58, have jumped on to a couple of private planes and fled the state. Angela Paxton, welcome to the podcast. What is this? I wouldn't say it's unprecedented, because the Democrats did do a walkout before, and that brought the legislative process to a halt. But now that the governor has called a special session, I guess they've decided that they need to be out of state to block the plate of legislation that's in front of you. Talk a little bit about what the Democrats are up to and what they're trying to achieve, or perhaps more accurately, not achieve.
Well, it's pretty clear that what they are doing right now is they are attempting to avoid and basically prevent the taking of a vote on a specific bill in particular, which is the election integrity bill, very much like the bill that we passed in the Senate during the regular session, and the Democrats walked out on in the House at that time. And of course, that is a lot of the rationale for the governor's calling of this special session is that didn't happen, it needs to get done, and we're going to do it like this.
Now, these bills, Democrats seem to react to these voter integrity bills kind of like Dracula before the cross. And their argument is always, it's voter suppression. Texas, like Georgia, is trying to suppress the vote. Talk about why that is a manifest falsehood, and what is this bill trying to accomplish?
You know, that's such a great point. And we have seen, I've heard folks talk about there are three kinds of information. There's misinformation, which is just wrong information, but it's generally not distributed with malintent. People are just misinformed. There is malinformation, which is negative information that's true, that is distributed with malicious intent in order to harm or destroy. And then there is also disinformation, which is patently not true, known to be patently untrue, and distributed to deceive and confuse people. That is what we see with the narrative from the left on election integrity legislation. This bill is designed to make sure that every legitimate voter, that their vote counts. That is the essence of our democracy. And for anyone to say that that is suppression or any other kind of language that we hear around it, it is patently untrue, and it is what I would consider disinformation.
Now, do you think the fact that the Democrats are so dead set against these voter integrity bills casts a shadow of suspicion backward on the 2020 election? I say that because it's kind of like saying this. If let's say you have a maid who comes and cleans your house once a week, and you suspect her of you're missing a watch and you think she may have stolen it, but you don't want to accuse her because you don't know for sure. So you say, okay, I'm going to put some cameras in the house. I'm going to try to make sure that my property is carefully protected. And then the maid goes, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this. It's unbelievable. It's shocking. It's racist. You're doing it because I'm Mexican and so on. You would say, no, I'm not. I haven't accused you of anything. I'm merely introducing these security measures to prevent wrongdoing from happening in the future. So my question is, isn't it telling that you've got this kind of blanket they carry their opposition to fanatical levels, which suggests that they know that something was up the last time, and they're hoping that it will continue because you're ruining their picnic.
Well, it certainly brings to mind the Shakespearean observation of perhaps the lady doth protest too much. And I had a friend who also used to say, if you throw a rock into a pack of dogs and one of them yelps, that's the one you hit. And so I think, honestly, if anyone who believes that legitimate, qualified voters should have the right to vote and that their vote should count once, and it should count, for real, the way they meant it to be counted, anyone who believes in that should have no problem, and in fact should feel very confident about the intent and the implementation of this bill.
When we come back, I want to ask Angela Paxton about what are the implications of a minority party blocking a legitimate democratic process and essentially leaving the state to prevent laws from being passed by a duly elected majority.